All right. Hi, all. Welcome to Life in Architecture. Again, here with Daniel. Coming to you from the beautiful 31st Street Beach, Chicago, Illinois. And I wanted to talk real quick about something really important, something really deep in my heart, about the path to wanting more, to wanting more money, to wanting more happiness, better relationships. I think there's something that is not very much spoken about that's very important on this path, and that is mental health. And people throw this, this term around, and some people tend to think that mental health is something that pretty much all the time you need a professional to improve. They have this maybe this unspoken stigma, or maybe society maybe pushes it a little bit on us. I tend to think that professional. This is not professional advice, obviously, but professional advice is good for the people that are on that stage of life that can afford it, right? But not everybody can. So what are some things that we could do on our own to get some mental health, to improve ourselves, right? So there's three things, right? This is where if I had some fancy editing, it would cut to, and then you'd see the text on the screen. But I'm not at that point, guys. So I appreciate you guys for working with me, and I'm gonna barrel right through this. So first thing that I think is one of the most important things for mental health is to nourish your circle, nourish your social circle. So that could be friends, that could be family. A lot of times it is family, or that could be a partner. And what do I mean by nourishing, right? I mean, so in my early 20s, I found out how important this was. And I've been, stammering through this for the last 10 years. But this is a very powerful concept that whenever you're in a point of, you really have to be aware when you're in these instances with people around you that you care about, most importantly, that care about you, because sometimes it's hard for us to pay attention to people that really care about us. So whenever you're in that situation of somebody that you think cares a lot about you, really try to be present and really try to be giving back to that person. Try to be your best self, right? To your family, or to your partner, or to your friend, what have you. This is going to do a lot of things, right? Not only are you going to be in a better state because you're giving, but that person's going to recognize this, and it's going to build your guys' bond. I have this saying that when, just like the laws of nature, when two people come together and they form a bond, you form something that's greater than each combined, right? It's like something you're creating something greater, right? I'm just struggling to keep the skyline in the background. So that's number one. Nourish the people around you. Recognize it's very difficult to do, guys. Very easy to say this. Very, very easy to say this. A lot harder to execute. So I challenge you guys, think about, are you being your best self? Are you trying? It doesn't mean you have to be 100% perfect. Nobody is. We're all flawed, right? But really think about and make that conscious effort, even if it's a small gesture. If it comes from the heart and you think that you believe this person really loves you and cares about you, give back, or just acknowledge it and say, hey, you know what? You showed up to help me with some babysitting the other day. That meant the world to me, man. Thank you so much. Or woman, right? This is not gender specific. So that's number one, right? Is really nourish. There's a lot more that goes to this, and I think this is something I'm going to talk about more, because I think having a strong social circle, it's actually been scientifically proven that not only is it good for the mental health, but it also improves your immune system. How crazy is that? If you look at blue zones are places where it has the most concentration of centenarians, people that have lived to 100 years old. One of the things they have in common is they have close bonds with their community. And it's not, it's no mystery that they live so long. It's because they have that community that gives you strength, that fortifies the immune system. And we don't really understand how, but there have been studies on this. Okay, so enough of that guy. Number 2, I will say, this is for people that work really hard. You work really hard, and it's hard for you to take a break. If this is you, I have a lot of empathy for people that are this way. I can be this way as well, a lot in life. Even though I spend a lot of my time preaching to these types of people, I'm also guilty of this, because the truth of the matter is that as much as I do self-care, and I do everything I can to give myself breaks, to give myself some leisure time. This beach, 31st Street Beach, I probably have not been out here for 8 years. And look at how beautiful this is. I mean, there's no excuse why I haven't been out here in 8 years. I mean, Chicago winters, they're brutal, but I should be finding time to come out here at least a couple times a year, right? During the summer months. It's a smaller window in the northern cities, but so this is number 2. Number 2 is, I challenge you, if you feel like you just have too much work, you can't think, you have a mental block, go on Google Maps and type in parks, or type in recreation, or type in water. Look at somewhere around you that has water, that has nature. Thankfully in Chicago we have a lot of that, but another marvel of the American city is there are a lot of these places that that are public resources, and they're gems, right? And this is free. And look, so that's funny. On the walk over here, somebody was mentioning like such a beautiful day, and there's nobody out here. Why is that? Why is that? It's a weekday, yes, and it's around the lunch hour. So I happen to be taking my lunch here, right? So why is it so difficult for people to just pause what they're doing and go out to a park and just take in all the beauty? It's hard. It's hard for me. Even though I preach this to a bunch of people, and I'm preaching this to y'all right now, and forgive me for that, right? But I feel like this really needs to be heard by people. It's incredibly important to take a pause in your day and go into a space that has nature, that has water, or create that space in your backyard or in your balcony. This is why going into the architecture kind of subject, this is why it's very important to design spaces that have some outdoor component to them. Balconies, terraces. You want to have vistas, gardens. You don't necessarily have to have a lakefront property like we see all down here. You don't have to pay those millions of dollars. You can make something really beautiful in your house, and that's a design that I hope to expand on. That's kind of what I want to be my gift to society. But so that's the second thing, right? Second thing on mental health. The third thing is kind of related to the first one, and this is a more practical thing. So I appreciate you guys for sticking around for 9 minutes while I ramble. But this one's going to be a little more practical. The third thing is, I challenge you guys, if you're up to it, whenever you're going through a hard time, I mean a real hard time, it could be, God forbid, a medical diagnosis. Could be a family member has a medical diagnosis or having some problems. I challenge you guys to think about the 3 closest people to you and let them know, and be open about this and be vulnerable. I think this is really powerful. And there's a lot on YouTube here about like, oh, the hustler, and oh, just suck it up, and there's not enough on mental health. And I think you will be surprised if you're going through a hard time and you share this with the 3 closest people in your life, you will be surprised the level of willpower that comes up from people close to you to support you. I was actually talking about this with my brother yesterday and how important this is. And it's very, very important. And then you feel supported. And getting back to, the living long thing is you're going to create a bigger bond with people when you let them know, when you let them in. If you're only telling 1 or 2 people, maybe it might be a little bit too much for them to take, right? So that's why it's important to do three people and just spill it all out. Spill it all out. You're going to feel a lot better, and you'll be surprised who shows up to help you out in your corner and on your path to having a better state of happiness. That's what life's about, right? So don't want to beleaguer this point too much more. Again, coming to you from 31st Street Beach in Chicago. More content coming soon. This is mental health is incredibly important for wealth, right? Because if you don't have mental health, you can have wealth. If you don't have mental health, what is it good for? If you're not having a good time. I think both are incredibly important. You gotta have both. And on the wealth subject, there's, I'm also sponsored by a great mentor of mine, Meetkevin, although I've never met him. His programs are awesome for real estate investing, for stock advice and property management. So link down below if you guys are interested in those. I'm taking like 3 or 4 of them. I got the YouTuber course, I got the real estate course, and I got the Hustlers course. So yeah, if you guys are interested and you want to support me, check those out. Other than that, I had a lot of fun making this, and there's more to come. Here, I'm going to try to push myself for 1 video a month, and I hope you guys are having a great summer. One more time. Bye, guys. Be well.